Well, a bell. It's our second Monday of the month. We did it. Here comes the official greeting. The first group I ever started here, however long ago that was. Taking time to find our comfortable position, upright yet comfortable, which it's an interesting thing since we're talking about Anapanasati Sutta. I thought I would, let's see if it's on this PDF that I sent out to you. It might not have had the beginning on it where, no, it does not. Oh, well, yes, it does. This is the first part of it before it gets into the breathing instructions. Mendicants, when mindfulness of breathing is developed and cultivated, it is very fruitful and beneficial. Mindfulness of breathing, when developed and cultivated, fulfills the 4 kinds of mindfulness meditation. The 4 kinds of mindfulness meditation, when developed and cultivated, fulfill the 7 awakening factors. And the 7 awakening factors, when developed and cultivated, fulfill knowledge and freedom. So that reminds us about the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And it reminds us about the 7 factors of enlightenment. And that being involved in just those 2 things can take us to full freedom. And then the question is, and how is mindfulness of breathing developed and cultivated to be very fruitful and beneficial? It is when a mendicant has gone to a wilderness or to the root of a tree or to an empty hut. They sit down cross-legged with their bodies straight and establish mindfulness right there. Just mindful, they breathe in. Mindful, they breathe out. So when I say take a comfortable position, I think about how lucky we are in this day and age. A comfortable position in that time was sitting at the base of a tree, or if you were lucky, in an empty hut. But we as householders and as advanced Westerners in the world of development of things, we have comfortable chairs and whatever else we have, but we can just let ourselves be as upright as feels comfortable, keeping the body straight and establishing mindfulness right there. Just mindful. They breathe in mindfully. Just mindful. They breathe out mindfully. When breathing in heavily, they know I'm breathing in heavily. When breathing out, they know I am breathing out heavily. When breathing in lightly, they know I am breathing in lightly. When breathing out lightly, they know I am breathing out lightly. So that's our first instruction that we've gone over many times, knowing a long breath and knowing a short breath. So the knowingness of it is being with it right here. And the second mindfulness of breathing step, breathing in, knowing that it's a short breath or a long breath. Long breath or heavy breath, short breath or light breath. And that's discerning what it is. And then we have training. Practice breathing in, experiencing the whole body. Practice breathing out, experiencing the whole body. Practicing breathing in, stilling the body's motion. Practicing breathing out, stilling the body's motion. So those are the first four that we can just notice throughout our sitting practice. Noticing breathing in long or heavily, or out long or heavily. Knowing with mindfulness whether the breath is short or light. Seated in our upright position and being relaxed yet alert. Noticing the breath. As the Buddha often said, mindfulness at the fore. Mindfulness is present. Awareness is present. And we're noticing, paying attention, being present with the breath. Letting all our attention be right there with the present moment of the breath at the nostrils or the belly. Keeping it simple. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Discerning if it's long or heavy or short or light breath. And we may practice breathing in, experiencing the whole body with the breath. And we may breathe out, experiencing the breath in all of the body, or experiencing all of the body with our breath. This becomes the training, breathing in, calming the bodily activity. And breathing out mindfully, noticing, being present. Breathing out, stilling the body's motion. And as we're noticing this breath in the body, this first foundation of mindfulness, mindful of the body, we can hold ourselves gently. It's not often easy to still the body or notice the breath in the whole body, but we're training ourselves. We're training our hearts and minds to be attentive to one object at a time. It helps deepen concentration. Sometimes we notice the hindrances along the way. But we know that we can return discerning that I am breathing out a heavy breath or a long breath, or that I'm breathing in a heavy breath or a long breath, or we can discern what the breath is like breathing out. We can return to that simple activity of mindfulness at the fore, discerning the breath. And we have the training to employ of experiencing noticing practicing the breath and stilling the body's motion. Experiencing the breath in the body, in the whole body. Practicing breathing in and practicing breathing out, feeling the breath in the whole body, and calming the bodily activity. next tetrad in these instructions from mindfulness of the body is mindfulness of feelings. Once we learn all 16 of these, you can notice that they come and go at different times throughout the practice. But it's always good to set the foundation at knowing that you're breathing in heavily or lightly, knowing that you're breathing out long or short, and training ourselves, training our breathing, noticing whether we experience it in the whole body, and noticing stilling the body's motion. Because coming along in the next 4 of feelings, or the mindfulness of feelings, the second part of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, is they practice breathing in, experiencing rapture. They practice breathing out, experiencing rapture, or piti. And so here is our opportunity to train breathing in and breathing out, experiencing joy as a training from stilling the body, feeling the breath through the body. We have the opportunity to have that little smile on our inner faces and train experiencing breath through the whole body, experiencing joy or rapture. Keep in mind it's a training, but it's the way that we can develop to total freedom. So breathing in, we train ourselves to notice or experience sensations throughout the body, feelings throughout the body. Something may have a tinge of joy or rapture to it. Sometimes there's tingling when the body is still. Or there's denseness. There can be spaciousness. There can be surprising feelings of maybe density at the feet and hands, or spaciousness or prickling somewhere throughout the body. So this next 4, after the first 4 of breathing in long or heavily, knowing it and discerning it, and breathing out short or lightly, knowing it, discerning it, then there's the more of the training of experiencing the breath in the whole body, calming our bodily activities. And then we move from body to feelings, experiencing joy or rapture, pleasant sensations in the body, density, lightness, various sensations throughout the body. And the 6th instruction is practicing breathing in, experiencing bliss, or experiencing happiness. This is sukha, the opposite of dukkha. It's a more stable, grounding sense of happiness, not quite as sometimes agitating through the body as piti is. But we can find these at all different places in our meditation time. But if we just look at the order of the first two tetrads, we have mindfulness of the body, and now we have mindfulness of feelings. Experiencing joy, training, I'll breathe in. Experiencing happiness, piti and sukha. And this is a practice of breathing in, experiencing these emotions, mental formations, mental activity. We practice or train to notice the mental activity, piti happening, or sukha happening. And we can notice mental activity, citta. And the fourth one in this second tetrad, or it's number 8 in the 16 instructions. Breathing in, stilling the emotions, calming the emotions. We practice breathing out, stilling the emotions, calming the mental activity. And if we get lost or don't know what's happening, we just start over, discerning whether the breath is long or heavy or short or light. Train ourselves experiencing the whole body, the breath in the whole body, throughout the body. Training, breathing in, experiencing joy, and breathing out, experiencing joy, piti. The body is stilled. The mind becomes more present, noticing rapture, noticing a calmer kind of happiness, perhaps. Citta, mental formations. We then notice and practice breathing in and experiencing these emotions and breathing out these emotions. And then noticing and practicing breathing in, stilling the emotions, and breathing out, stilling the emotions or calming the mental activity. And so while the first 4 instructions are around the breath and the body and calming the bodily activity, in practicing piti, we notice piti or rapture perhaps, or a sense of joy. And if we see that, we can spread it through the body or feel it spread through the body. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable. But pleasant feelings are sort of the ones that happen when we're really touched sort of spiritually in a way. I mean, sometimes it's in the breath experience, and it can be felt in some area of the body. It can be sometimes the way metta feels, sort of permeated and spread out. There aren't any hindrances bothering the mind. And we just don't let negativity enter the mind and remain there. And that flows into sukha, or the pleasant feeling. We can notice when different kinds of pleasure and joy are experienced. The piti, the rapture and the joy, doesn't go away, but there's a depth to the experience of sukha. And this is a good time to pay attention, because the quality of attention can help increase our feelings. It's not the time to space out and disappear, but it's the time to be more attentive, calming the mental activity, stilling the emotion. Tranquility can come as a result of the mind full of piti. The body and the mind become tranquil. And when tranquility is encouraged, one feels bliss, a kind of emerged in samadhi. It can be developed and perfected. It's a training. And we do this gently and with ease, in a relaxed manner. We may notice that craving or ill will can fall away as our concentration is increased and our attention is increased on the activity of the breath, the calming of the body, the calming of the mind. And all along the way, we can notice right where craving arises. And when we have our attention on it, we can also see right where it disbands when we calm the body, still the body, calm the mind. And that's where we have a moment of what nibbana is like, what freedom is like. When the heart and mind wanders away, we get lost in where we are, we can just begin again, discerning the breath, breathing in, discerning the breath, breathing out. Is it heavy? Is it long? Is it light? Is it short? Is it warm or cool? Being present in this very moment with the breath. Training to breathe in, experiencing the whole body, experiencing the breath throughout the whole body. Calming, stilling the bodily activity. And if it's hard to keep our attention on what's happening, we can let our eyes open a little, let some light in, or just gently gaze down with light coming into our peripheral, still being aware of the breath, still holding ourselves gently. Experiencing the mental activities, thought formations, emotions that go through the mind. Various mental stuff that goes through the mind. Oftentimes we can remember that unbidden thoughts, those that we aren't really calling on purposefully, are due to old karma. Our thoughts that arise are due to old karma, mental stuff going through the mind. The exception for intentional, volitional thoughts that are purposeful. You might be planning something that you have to do or figuring something out. Those are a little more intentional and they're volitional, but many thoughts that come through are unbidden. And it's old karma just passing through the mind. And using our breath and training with calming the bodily activity, there's an opportunity to experience joy, to experience piti. The Buddha mentions the person who sells bath powder and how you have to saturate the bath powder in order to use it. And piti can be saturated through the body, the way the bath powder, when it's spread in the bath, saturates throughout the bath water. Permeates and spreads out through the mind. Experiencing the mental activities, the thought formations, the emotions going through the mind. And then we train calming the mental activity, stilling the emotion, and the tranquility that can come, that we're training ourselves to look for, that can come as a result of the mind saturated with that joy. The body and mind become tranquil. Subtle feelings of bliss can emerge in this concentration, in this samadhi. These are to be developed and perfected over time. And we just hold ourselves in the present moment, easefully, gently. And as we let ourselves experience what the breath is like now, it might be different than when we began. And how the body feels and where we feel the breath. Whether there's an experience saturating our bodies, our minds that might feel pleasant and joyous, or whether there's some stilling of emotion and tranquility. These are things we're nurturing, practicing, noticing when we can. And as we hold that kind of spaciousness, we can hold ourselves in kindness. We can feel the kindness, the peacefulness of metta practice as filling our hearts the way the bath powder has to be saturated with water. Letting some feeling of kindness saturate ourselves. And as we hold a sense of kindness in our hearts for ourselves, Maybe we can be reminded of pleasant moments, or maybe there's a pleasant moment right now, of letting this stilling of emotion and calming of the mind, spaciousness in the heart of joy and sukha, joy and a stable happiness, encouraged and trained. Letting this feeling include another person, letting this feeling include a benefactor, a teacher. Letting this kindness and sense of peacefulness flow to a close friend. Calming, renewing, radiant. Letting this sense of well-being and kindness also include a neutral person. And allowing this sense of well-being, the spaciousness of our training of the heart and mind, letting this feeling of metta spread to others, to family members, to neighbors, to others that we don't know, those in suffering, letting kindness and compassion fill our hearts, letting there be a sense of equanimity, that we can feel this sense of kindness without falling into pity or extremes of the emotions, but to let this neutral feeling of kindness and compassion include others, all of those migrants trying to get to the borders of Poland and get out of Ukraine. So many people in so many places fleeing oppression or dealing with oppression, or those dealing with sickness, and those trying to take care of those who are sick, and those who are feeding those who are in danger and destitution. May we have this kindness and this compassion mixed with equanimity and the joy that we spread through our hearts. Let this radiate to fill others, to those who are in sorrow and difficulty, to those who are in joy, to those known and unknown, to beings seen and unseen. May all beings everywhere receive this sense of kindness, this sense of compassion, that we can include them in the spaciousness of our hearts. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we hold with compassion the suffering of others and the suffering of ourselves. Anicca vata sankhara upadavaya domino upakitawa meruchanti te samvapasamo sukho. All conditioned things arise and pass away. Seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, which is peace. And may the merit of our practice, the goodness of this practice, benefit all sentient beings. Thank you for your practice.